Hi, and welcome to the Frog Pond School of Design, where we try to have a good time talking about things architectural. And today, we actually venture into architectural current events. That's right. Have you ever heard of a guy named Charlie Munger? Well, I hadn't either until recently. Charlie is the #2 guy at Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's empire. So he and Warren are really like that. They're good buddies, and they work together. And if you watch some of the online videos of the two of them, you might get the impression that Charlie's really the brains of the operation. But anyway, Charlie also does some philanthropy, which is to his credit. However, it seems that sometimes that comes with strings attached. His latest venture is he wants to fund or partially fund a residence hall at the University of California, Santa Barbara. They apparently are in dire need of student housing. So Charlie stepped forward and is giving them something like $200 million to build this residence hall under the condition that it be done per his design. He, I guess, fashions himself as an amateur architect of sorts. So he proposed this building and he put forth a design for it. The unusual aspect is that it has almost no windows. That's right. 4,500 student rooms, single rooms, almost all of which have no windows. Now, the first explanation I heard for why they were doing this was, well, you know, if there are windows down the hall in the commons area, so this actually encourages the students to spend time with the other students rather than just sitting in the room by themselves. Now, you can debate all day whether or not you think that would be effective, but it becomes moot because I saw an interview with Charlie talking about this, and he went on and on about how, well, it's got better than windows. It's got artificial windows where you can dial the amount of light coming in, and he thought this would be even better. So if the rationale were to get the students out of their rooms because there were no windows, he wouldn't be bragging about how wonderful these windows are. So there's a little missing there in that translation. Now, as someone who spent 40 years with a major university and during a good part of that time dealt with gift-funded projects, I don't really blame Charlie for this problem. I blame the university. Years ago, I think this is pretty common from state to state. State funding or buildings were pretty much funded by the state, and as the state backed off this, and the universities were forced to go out and raise funds, a lot of these universities are still, what I consider adolescent in that venture. They haven't learned some of the fine points of this. One of those being sometimes you have to say thanks, but no thanks. And they just, at this point, don't have the guts to do that, to tell him, look, there are a lot of things we could use your money for and would love to build a residence hall, but we're just not going to be pushed around by our donors. But money speaks, so looks like Charlie's going to get his way. Now, what would I do if, one architect on the project already quit because of this, and in an interview I saw Charlie talking about it, he just brushed the guy off and referred to him as ignorant. So that's the kind of guy we're talking about here. But there might be more than one way to, they say there's more than one way to skin a cat. There might be more than one way to deal with rampant hubris. This is a picture of the building that they're talking about, and you notice it looks like it has windows. So I assume that those are fake windows on the outside as well as fake windows on the inside. What's wrong with just windows? So what would I do? I would make darn sure that every one of those openings that looks like a window is backed up by a framed opening with infill that could be easily removed and replaced with a real window someday when, number one, they realize this whole thing was a big mistake, and number two, when Charlie's gone off to some other place, I mean, Charlie's 97, okay? Uh, by the time they get this building built, Charlie might be in another place where I assume he figures he's also going to call the shots. Thanks for joining us today on the Frog Pond School of Design. I look forward to seeing you hanging around the pond again real soon.